And again, it's not about avoiding hard work, because I actually enjoyed it. It's about leveraging my time in a way that brings absolutely more value to me and to my family. And I'm gonna break down what does earn mean, because if you're gonna really take your financial future seriously, you gotta earn more. You gotta earn your future. How do you earn your future? I stopped being content with just surviving. And I really want y'all to hear me when I say this. I wanted to thrive and make a real impact. But good enough is no longer good enough for Anthony ONeal. I teach, don't allow your comfort zone to become your kill zone. It's easy to get comfortable and start thinking like everyone else around you. It's the very first thing I stopped doing once I started making six figures and crossed over to that net worth millionaire status. I stopped. What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the table, where we're focusing on helping you build wealth, live debt-free, and create a lasting legacy. And today we're going to be diving into a topic that I know is going to resonate with a lot of you, especially those of you who have recently paid off their debt and you've leveled up in your income and you want to go a step higher. Now watch this. If you're making six figures or on your way there, this one is for you. Now, you may not be making six figures, but this show is still most definitely impactful, because if you can get this information now, I promise you it will bless you down the road. But let me tell you this up front. Hitting that net worth millionaire status was a game changer for me. Heck, when I first made my six figures, it was a game changer for me. But it wasn't just about really earning more money. It was about transforming how I thought, how I managed my time, and how I handled my finances. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 things I stopped doing immediately once I started making six figures that took me into the position of becoming a net worth millionaire. These are the changes that took me from just making money, watch this, to truly building wealth and living a life of purpose. So I want you to get locked in. I want you to get a pen, a paper, notepad, because you're going to want to take notes on this specific one. All right. But before we do, listen, do me a favor. We are on our road to 1 million subscribers. And I promise you, this thing will bless you tremendously. If you can just do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, whether you listen to this on podcast and or YouTube. Just do me a favor and join the family so we can get to at least 1 million subscribers ASAP. All right, let's get to it. Here's number 1. It's the very first thing I stopped doing once I started making six figures and crossed over to the net worth millionaire status. I stopped doing everything myself. Let me say this one more time. I stopped doing everything myself. You know, when I first started making six figures, I had this mindset that I needed to do everything myself. I thought that if I handled it all, I was saving a lot of money. But let me tell you, that kind of thinking was actually holding me back and preventing me from really making the money. First off, I stopped cleaning my own house and hired a house cleaner. It wasn't about me being lazy. Let's be real here, all right? It was about me buying my time back. The time I used to spend cleaning, I now spend focusing on my business, creating content, life transformational content, and strategizing ways to grow this business. Next, I stopped cutting my own grass and hired someone to do it. If y'all been following me for years, you know, I actually enjoy cutting my grass, but I would spend 2 hours a week cutting my grass. And again, it's not about avoiding hard work, because I actually enjoyed it. It's about leveraging my time in a way that brings absolutely more value to me and to my family. I also stopped doing my own taxes, okay? And brought in a tax professional. Y'all met her, Shania. You see, before I was spending hours trying to navigate the tax codes, but now I leave it to Shania and her team, who knows the ins and outs. Not only do they save me time, but watch this, because they know all the tax laws, because they are required to go to school every year, they also save me thousands of dollars by finding deductions and credits I didn't even know actually existed. And so, listen, these are all things that I believe we all need to stop doing for ourselves. Because lastly, I stopped trying to save every single penny by doing every single thing myself. Instead, I started spending more money on things that actually purchased my time back. Ooh, ooh. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Here's one good example. I'm outsourcing certain tasks, right? That gave me about 5 hours of my time back each week. So by outsourcing a cleaning person, someone to cut my grass, someone to do my taxes, someone to take care of my dog on certain things, it gave me about 5 hours of my time back each week, which is about 20 hours a month. Watch this. That extra time allowed me to focus on completing my new book, Take Your Seat at the Table, which comes out in January. And by finishing this book, I'm able to impact lives and leave a lasting legacy in today's world. So this not only grows my business and impacts lives, but it also helps me to continue building wealth. Because if I sell enough books, I get paid for selling a book that impacts life. So speaking of that, I hope you have pre-purchased, pre-ordered my book. You can go to anthonyoneal.com/book. The information will be inside today's show notes. We are giving away over $2,000 worth of bonuses. And so if you purchase today, I'm going to give you the intro and chapter 1 and also 2,000 other bonuses that's going to help you build wealth. So again, you can go to anthonyoneal.com/book, and the link will also be in today's show notes. Thank you for pre-purchasing, by the way. I believe this book is going to bless your life. So what's the lesson here? You see, when you start making good money and to get you into the net worth millionaire status, your time becomes more valuable than anything else. Stop doing everything yourself. I want you to hire help. I want you to outsource tasks that don't require your personal touch and focus on what truly moves the needle in your life and in your business. Because when you do that, you're going to see that your time, like for me, my time is more valuable than my money. I can get money back, but I can't get time back. I can't get those 2 hours back that I use cutting the grass because everybody gets 24 hours in a day. Now I can get another set of 2 hours tomorrow, but I can't get the 2 hours that I wasted. But I can get $100 back. I can get money to buy my time. I think sometimes we're thinking, well, I can save more money by doing it this way. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can save more money, but you're hindering yourself from making more money because your time is allocated in places that's not producing you money. It's only saving you money. So I'm now spending my time in areas that produces financial freedom, more money, peace, and memories. Which leads me into number 2. When it comes to my money specifically, I stopped playing with my money and took my financial future seriously. So I want to be real. I want to be real with you. Making 6 figures is great. But it is great. The average salary in America is right around $58,000. So if you're there or higher, man, you're doing good for yourself. But just because you make 6 figures, just because you make $500,000, $1 million a year, it doesn't automatically mean you're financially secure. In fact, according to a recent survey, 44% of people making over $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. I want you to believe, I want you to sit back and think with me. Close your eyes. Can you believe that someone bringing in over $8,000 a month is still struggling to make ends meet? You're making $8,000 a month and you can't pay your bills on time. You see, that's not the kind of life I wanted for myself I want it for my future family, and I sure do not want it for you. This is why I'm offering and producing content and dropping content every Monday and Wednesday here on the show. This is why we're taking your phone calls on Wednesday on Build Your Table, because it's not about my table. It's not about the table. It's about your table and helping you build your table so you can call in and ask the questions so you can start taking your financial future seriously. This is why every Tuesday and every Thursday, I'm publishing an article on my website that helps you with more information to take control of your table, of your life. This is why I wrote the book, Take a Seat at Your Table, so you can build your table and not other people's table. Because I realized this early on, that if I was going to break out of the debt cycle, if I was going to break out of the living paycheck to paycheck cycle, I had to start taking my financial future seriously. You know why? Because I didn't see my family really thinking about the future. They were thinking about surviving today to get to tomorrow. So I was like, you know what? No more playing games with my money. I set a strict budget. I prioritized my saving and my investing and made sure that every dollar had a purpose and an assignment to it. I stopped spending on things that didn't align with my goals and my vision and started focusing on building a solid financial future. So some of y'all may be sitting here thinking, well, Anthony, I hear you, man. I'm right there with you. I want to build a financial future seriously. I want to build a business seriously. I want to make sure that my children's children have and know my name and have money. I want to make sure that my wife, that my husband, whenever we get married, that we are not a burden to each other financially. How do we do it? Where do we start? And it all comes from, let me get my necklace out. I don't know why I be doing that, Lord Jesus. It all comes from, you got to earn. What do you mean earn, Anthony? I've talked about this in my show. And I'm going to break down what does earn mean, because if you're going to really take your financial future seriously, you got to earn more. You got to earn your future. How do you earn your future? Let's break it down. E stands for evaluate where you are financially. I really want you to take a hard look at your current financial situation. I want you to know exactly where you are when it comes with your money. Where is your money going? What is your money doing? How much debt do you have? And what's your income? Like, what do you have coming in? How much debt do you currently have? What kind of margin between your income and your debt do you have? Like, what is that breathing room? The reason why some of you all cannot take your financial future seriously, you cannot adjust to your future, is because you do not know what you're actually doing well with your money. Do you hear me? You do not know well what you are actually doing with your money. So this is why you got to start off, when it comes to earning more, you got to start off with evaluating where you are financially currently, which leads me to the A. You have to step back and arrange the vision. You see, once you understand where you are and what you're currently doing, it's time to get clear on where you're going, AKA where you want to be. And you do this by setting specific financial goals that align with the life you desire, whether that's being debt-free, but building a certain level of savings, or investing like crazy into the future. You know, this is where you and your wife, you and your husband, you and your partner sit down and say, you know what, babe? What do we want to do? Like, where are we going? And I'm not talking about how many kids we want right now. No. I'm not talking about what kind of cars we want right now. No. I'm talking about 30 years from now, when we are older and we don't want to get up and work anymore. What do we want our life to look like? Do we want to pay for a home? Where do we want to live when we retire? Do we want to go to Florida? Do we want to go to California? Do you want to retire in Mexico? I told myself my 45th birthday, I'm moving out of the country and I'm living somewhere for a year. My company's still going to be producing. I'm still going to be shooting content. But for a year, by my 45th birthday, I am moving out of the country for 1 year. For 1 year. I am going to make sure that I experience life with my wife. And if we have a child, I'm going to make sure that we experience life with my child and I expose my child to things outside of America. Because when I went to Dubai, when I went to Italy and I'm on this cruise and I'm saying like, wow, I was never exposed to this growing up. People are really living like this. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a part of the vision. What do you want to provide to your children? What do you want to leave your children's children? What are some of the experiences you want to experience? I have 5 years to position myself and the Neatness Network to a place to where the company can still move with me living out of the country part-time, to where maybe I come back once a quarter, I spend a week here and we shoot all these shows, but then I go back to Dubai, I go back to a different place and I live there and I experience life there. But once you evaluate where you are and then you arrange the vision of where you want to go, you can't go there, watch this, without rendering the strategy, which is the R. You have to render the strategy. You see, with your vision in place, you got to create a strategy to get there. This might involve, setting up a budget, automatically saving and moving things to your savings account automatically, or finding ways to increase your income. The key is to have a plan that guides your financial decisions to where you want to go. So already I am setting money aside for my business and for me personally for the next 5 years. Because I know I need to move somewhere. I need to find a place in Dubai. And watch this. I know that that's happening in Dubai because Dubai actually requires you to pay your rent 1 year in advance. It's not everybody, but if I go to Dubai, I got to pay my rent a year in advance. So before I can move there, I need to already have my rent paid if I'm going to rent something. Or I can just move into the condo I'm buying. I don't know. But I'm preparing for it and I'm coming up with a strategy. Now, once you evaluate where you are, you arrange the vision of where you want to go, you come up with a strategy that gets you to that vision. Here's where a lot of people fall off. They'll get the strategy, they'll get direction, they'll get the plan, but they will not act. And the last part of earn is now you have to act. You can't afford to just sit on your rear end. You can't afford to sit on the strategy and a plan. You got to take action. You got to start implementing your strategy and make sure you're consistently reviewing and adjusting it as needed. The sooner you act, the sooner we all see results. When I started acting, right? When I started acting on the plan and the strategy, it wasn't just about me making more money. It was about making sure that the money actually worked for me. I wanted to ensure that my financial future was so secure that I wasn't just making money, but also building wealth. You see, this shift in my mindset allowed me to move from just surviving to truly thriving. And it's something I encourage all of you to do. And I'm gonna say this again. This is something that I encourage all of us to do, because even at this level, I have to continue growing and evolving and looking at my finances and adjusting my plan and my strategy. Don't let a high income fool you into a false sense of security. Just because you're making $80,000, 6 figures, $1 million. Do you know how many millionaires I know who personally make 7+ figures or more a year, and I'm still wealthier than them? Y'all, my business does well over 7 figures. Anthony ONeal does not make 7 figures. Anthony ONeal, the human, me, the person, hello, I do not make 7 figures a year. My business does not pay me 7 figures a year. But I know celebrities who personally get a check in their personal bank account for 7 figures a year. And I, and some of you, are wealthier than them because they allow the false sense of a high income to fool them into getting comfortable. When net worth is about how long can you last without a dollar coming in. Net worth means if you stop working today, how much capital, how much cash do you have access to survive without another dime coming in? You have to take control of your finances now, so you're not left wondering where all your money went to later on. And I want to pause right there because number 3 is going to be powerful. And number 3 is going to convict some of us. Because while I was writing this, I was convicted a little bit because I started getting comfortable. And I had to snap back into it myself because I can't get comfortable. I teach, don't allow your comfort zone to become your kill zone. You all know the story of the frog that I've told so many times that back in the days, man, if you really know anything about frogs get comfortable in the heat. And how frogs, you can put them inside of a pot, and if you gradually up the heat of the frog can be boiled. The frog could die inside of that pot because the frog will get comfortable and the frog will go to sleep. And little before you know it, you can boil the frog inside of its sleep. But really, the truth of the fact is, you didn't boil the frog inside while the frog was sleeping. You boiled the frog inside of its comfort zone. Which this is number 3. Stop settling for okay work. Stop settling for comfort zone status. You see, when I was growing up, man, my parents had high standards. In my house, a B on a report card was something not, that's bad grammar. Let me say this again. A B on a report card wasn't something to celebrate. No. It was expected that you'll push for the A. If you got a B, how come you didn't hit an A? If you got a C, how come you didn't hit a B? If you got an A, outstanding. What do we need to do to get to A+? I want to live right there. How often are we celebrating our kids because they made a B? I'm not saying we need to punish them and chastise them for making a B. No, because I get it. I'm going to be sensitive in it. But my parents taught me, no. A B and an A is expected. That's like your job, your boss celebrating you, showing up. If you got to show to work at 8 o'clock, that's like your boss celebrating you because you got there at 8 a.m. No, that's expected. That's what I'm paying you for. I'm not going to celebrate something that I expect from you. I will say thank you. I will honor you because you're being consistent, but I'm not going to celebrate you every single time. No, I expect that. And that mindset stuck with me. And as I started making 6 figures and started building my wealth, I realized that good enough was no longer good enough. Why? Because everybody is doing good enough. Just because something was acceptable didn't mean it was the best I could do. And if I wanted to keep growing, both personally and financially. I needed to hold myself to a higher standard. And in today's world, we are okay with doing, well, that's good enough. Well, they're doing it. Well, if they're doing it, then the world's accepting it, then that's cool. But then I can do it. If they're doing it and the world's accepting it, then I can do it because that's good enough. You know how many times, I'm being honest, I've looked at other people's podcasts. Oh, okay, well, they had a glitch in their camera. Oh, okay, their camera's not as crisp. Oh, okay, their sound's not as now. Oh, okay, their website's not as is. So if they're doing it, I can do it. Oh, if the world's accepting it, if they're blowing up, then I can do it. And I started getting comfortable. But good enough is no longer good enough for Anthony ONeal, because I started noticing that the most successful people around me, my mentors who has built a wealth that surpasses what I make in a year. What I make in a year, they make in a month. And what I make in a year, some of that make in a daggone week. These were the ones who never settled for just okay. They weren't satisfied with blending in or doing the minimum, or they were not satisfied with good enough. They didn't just put in extra hours. Watch this. Watch this. They put in extra mental hours to outthink the people around them. Oh my gosh. What do I mean by that, Anthony? They paid attention to the details. And they always aimed for excellence. One of the things I walked away from working with Dave Ramsey is, heck no. You can't come to him with B work. You can't come to Dave with B+ work. You came to Dave with A work? Great. How can we make it a little bit better? What makes Ramsey Solutions stand out? I would get off the stage and just spoke to thousands of people and Dave, man, good talk. Do this, man. Ooh, nail this right here. You go from good to great. That's the kind of work ethic I had to start embodying. My team would tell you, I don't settle for good enough. I don't settle for simply okay. I stopped settling for okay work and good enough work in everything I did. Whether it was creating content, managing my business, or even in my own personal life, I made a commitment to excellence. I feel this in my spirit right there. And I'm gonna pause for my notes. The reason why some of you are not getting the pay raise that you want and the promotion that you want is because you're only good enough. You're doing good work. You're doing good work. But you're only good enough. You're not great. You're not excellent. You're not subpar. Like you're not above. You are settling for good. I show up at 8 and I leave right at 4:59, 5 o'clock. Are you feeling bogged down by debt? Be it credit cards, educational loans, or other financial burdens? There's great news for you. It's time to part ways with your debt. Fortress is on your side. I want you to meet my new friends at Fortress Debt, which is a cutting-edge AI service crafted to lead you out of debt quickly and effectively. I want you to picture a future where you're in charge, not your debt. That's what Fortress offers. So what's the key ingredient here? You see, this AI tool from Fortress Debt tailors debt relief strategies specifically for you, drawing from your personal financial landscape. This AI tool doesn't just outline potential paths forward using a debt snowball, it also accompanies you at every juncture, ensuring you always know your next move. With Fortress staying focused and marching towards debt-free existence, it actually becomes a reality. So, I'm introducing you to my new friends, your ally towards achieving financial independence. I want you to visit anthonyoneal.com/fortress debt. Again, that is anthonyoneal.com/fortress debt to start your journey with AI right now. I remember one of my managers when I was working for the collection company. He said, "Anthony, you know why you got the job?" I was like, "Why you get the job?" He's like, "Guess." I said, "Well, one, I know I'm good at convincing people." He said, "Yeah. But there's other people who's good at convincing people to sell." I was like, "Why?" He said, "For one, when I first asked employees, because we was living in California and a new law had just passed that now we can call, for an example, on the West Coast, I'm saying the West Coast, on the West Coast, we would come in from 8 to 5, and we couldn't call the East Coast to collect because by law they're not supposed to call you before 8 a.m. right? Your time, your on your time. So 8 a.m. So when we would get in at 8 a.m., it is what, 9, 10, 11. It was 11 o'clock on the East Coast. So we would lose 3 hours, right, to call people to try to collect their money. And he said, "I'm looking for 20 people that's willing to come in at 5:30 a.m. and get off at 2:30 a.m. I lived about 40 minutes away from this particular spot. So this means I would need to be on the road by 4:45 my time, which means I need to be up at 4 a.m. every single morning. I was the first person to volunteer. I would show up at about 5:15 every morning, get me, some nice little Starbucks. I didn't drink coffee then. I would drink a apple cider. It was hot. It would wake me up. I'll get to going, take my lunch, and then I would get off at 2:30 sometimes. And if I felt good, if I saw that my team members were like struggling with some calls, sometimes I would leave at 3:30. He said, "I never saw you at 2:29 logged out, ready to jump off. You were never the last person to arrive and the first person to go. I've always saw you go the extra mile. I always saw you studying people and how to collect better. I always saw that when your friends were struggling, when your friends were missing out on something, you would spend time and teach them how to go from okay to good, from a good collector to a better collector. Anthony, I saw you make a commitment to excellence, and that's why you got the pay raise. That's why you got the job promotion, and I'm shipping you to Florida to open up our brand new collection agency." Y'all, I was 20. I had only worked for the company for a year. But because when I looked around me and I saw that people would just, if their clock started at 8 a.m., they'll show up at 8:01. And then if we were off at 5, at 4:49, at 4:50, they packing up their stuff and getting ready to go. I saw that if I was going to elevate in this company, if I was going to be one of the best collectors in this company, I had to separate myself from everyone else. Even if I knew I wasn't going to be at this company forever, I still gave it excellence. And I made a commitment that I'm going to be the best wherever I can go. And so I began using my resources and money to improve the quality of my work, to invest into better tools, to educate myself, and experiences that would allow me to do more and make a bigger impact. What's the result? Not only did my work improve, but so did the opportunities that came my way. You see, when you strive for excellence, people notice that. Your reputation grows, your influence expands, and so does your income. When I first started pastoring, I'll never forget that. When I first started pastoring in Jacksonville, Florida, I got there as a mega church, 20,000, 30,000 members, and the youth ministry only had maybe about 20, 30 kids showing up every Sunday. I'm like, there's no way in the world. We're part of this mega church, and we only got 20 or 30 people there. And I was like, all right, cool. I spent time before people knew who I was. I went to other churches, and I looked at their youth ministries. I went into high schools and saw what the kids in that community and that culture was getting into. I started talking to gang members. I started going, we were downtown. I would ride up the street, take off my shirt, throw on some baller shorts, throw on some Jordans, and I would play basketball with the street people, with the brothers, with my people. And I'm not gonna call it street people, because that's rude, that's disrespectful. I would play basketball on the street with the young man, the older man, and I would get a feel for the community that I'm serving. I would go to, before people knew my name, I would go to the board meetings, and I would sit down and hear what the principals, what the superintendent, what the board members of the school district is saying, and some of the things that they're dealing with. I went the extra mile. I didn't just show up to church to preach, to hoop at these kids. No, I got involved with their life. And then I'll never forget, I came back and I presented a plan and a strategy. Oh my gosh. I evaluated the current ministry. I arranged the vision. I rendered the strategy. I presented it to the pastor and said, hey, this is how we're going to grow the ministry. I've been to this school. I've been to these churches. I've been to this community. I was up the street. I go out there and I play basketball every Thursday, every Saturday, and I play basketball with them. And I felt the community's need. I blended in. When I got the stamp of approval from the senior pastor, we grew that ministry to where we were seeing 2,000 kids a weekend. I was in schools. Every principal knew my name. The mayor knew my name. Every church knew my name. And because I went over and beyond, because I went for excellence, I got a pay raise from the church. I got speaking engagements from other youth ministries to come to their youth conferences. I'm speaking on Bishop T.D. Jake's stage at Mega Fest to the youth there. I'm speaking for New Birth. I was all over the place. Why? Because I didn't settle for okay. I didn't settle to just serve the 20 people that was in the youth ministry. No, I said I want to be the daggone best person, and I want to leave an impression on this community, and my reputation grew. My influence and expand. And where's what I love? When your influence expands, so does the people connected to you. And because the youth ministry influence expanded, watch this, the church grew. Because now parents knew, well, if I go to this particular church, my kids are going to be served. So now what happened? The youth ministry helped the entire church grow. And because of that, my income grew. So I want to encourage you. Don't just settle for okay. Don't just settle for good enough. Don't just settle where they're doing it and it seems like it's working. No, push yourself to deliver A++ work and watch how it elevates the aspect in every aspect of your life. Which leads me to this, like if you're going to not settle for okay, it's number 4. I stopped thinking like everyone else. I stopped thinking and processing like everyone else. You see, when you start making 6 figures, when you start thinking of becoming a net worth millionaire, it's easy to get comfortable and start thinking like everyone else around you. But here's the truth. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, here go that key word there, extraordinary, pause. Nothing extraordinary happens inside of your comfort zone. Let's expand a little bit more. Nothing extraordinary happens if you think like everyone around you. So if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you can't afford to think like the average ordinary person. You see, the average ordinary person trades time for money. And their content, not content, they're content with just getting by. But I knew that if I wanted to truly build wealth and create a legacy and create a business that was going to impact lives, I had to start thinking differently. The first shift I made was how I viewed time and money. You see, most people see time as something that they have to spend to earn more money. But I started to see money as a tool to buy back some of my time. Instead of working harder for every dollar, I began to focus on ways to make more money and have my money work harder for me. I told that to my team and my staff here. Like, listen, Anthony ONeal owns this company. You all are helping me build and impact lives. So the time off that you have, and I'm very strategic about making sure that I'm not working too hard. I want them to build something on the side. I don't want them to have another side job. I want them to build something on the side that they 100% own, that their family has ownership, and they get 100% of the fruit of that. So that way they can invest into assets that generates passive income. I started investing in passive income ideas, automating parts of my business, and finding ways to scale my efforts so I could do more with less. I don't want everybody's thinking, well, shoot, I better get 2 jobs. I better, and let me backtrack. Let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. I'm not saying having 2 jobs is horrible. No, if you're on your journey of paying off your debt and getting your savings account up to where you can be comfortable, yes, working 2 to 3 jobs to get to that point is wise. But once you're out of debt and you have a good cushion in your savings account, I need you to start looking at and start thinking a little bit differently. Instead of you having 2 jobs and building 2 other people's visions, no, have 1 job, because I do believe that God uses us. He used me for 25 years to serve in other people's visions, which was great because everything that I've learned there, it implies now and it's helping me now. So I value that time, and you should value that time as well. But when you leave that job, what are you doing for you? What are you doing for your last name? Another change that I made was I had to change my approach to growth. You see, the average person is okay with staying where they are, stagnant and comfortable. But I wanted more than just comfort. I wanted to thrive. I started surrounding myself with people who challenged me, who held me accountable, who were consistently evolving and pushing their own limits. I invested in my education. Actually, I'm still investing into my education. I attended seminary and sought out mentors who were where I wanted to be, and I still see them ahead of me and continuing to evolve. If you're not connected to individuals who are better than you, if everyone in your circle is on the same level or less than you, you have an ego problem. You have a growth problem. You don't want to grow. You want to be the Hercules. You want to be Jesus. You want to be the guy, the woman. No, I want 33% of my circle to be wiser, smarter, wealthier than me. Then I want 33% of my circle to be on the same level as I, and we're all working, thriving, and holding each other accountable. Then I want the last 34% to not be below me as in a human being, but they may not be where I'm at business-wise, and I can show them how to get to where I'm at business-wise. They should never catch me. I should never catch my mentors until my mentors retire, settle, and then boom, and vice versa. But lastly, I stopped being content with just surviving. And I really want y'all to hear me when I say this. I wanted to thrive and make a real impact. And the average person is okay with simply completing the task. But I wanted to inspire others to build something that would endure long after I'm gone. The shift in mindset transformed everything for me. You see, this shift pushed me to step into leadership roles, take bold tasks and risk, and pursue opportunities that people might avoid. The lesson here is very simple, you guys. If you want extraordinary results, you can't afford to think like everyone else. You have to think bigger. You got to act smarter and be willing to do what others are not willing to do. That's how you move from average to exceptional. And that's how you build lasting wealth and a meaningful legacy. Which leads me to the last thing that I stopped doing. I stopped spending my money on things that did not bring me experiences or benefit my future family. You see, when you start to earn six figures and your net worth becomes this millionaire, it's tempting to spend money on flashy things that show off your success. Luxury cars, expensive gadgets, the latest trends, partying. You know, I just turned 40 back in July. And everyone's like, yo, bro, it's your 40th, man. You got to party. You gotta do this. You gotta do that, man. You gotta bring in some celebrities and, and turn up. And I was like, do I? I mean, yeah, I can get a lot of celebrities to come out. But why spend $30,000, $20,000 on a party for one night? Ain't nobody bringing me no birthday gift. Ain't nobody bringing me no card. Ain't nobody cutting me no check. Why? Why? And when I sat back, I started thinking about it. I was like, man, what have you not done that you will never forget in your life? That will bring joy, bring peace to your life. And it hit me. I've never really toured the country. I've been to some nice places, but I've never really toured the company. And so I said, for my 40th birthday, I'm going to tour the country. I'm going to go see the amazing things God has done. And as I was talking with some friends and Googling on what to do, I came across a Ritz-Carlton yacht cruise. And I spent 8 days on a private yacht touring the country. Because you know why? Spending that money brought me an experience that exposed me to a lifestyle and to certain people that I will forever remember. 2, it changed my life to where now I want to provide that experience for my wife. And if I'm blessed to have kids, watch this, I want to provide that experience for my kids. Do you know, on this cruise, the cheapest room was $20,000. That's the cheapest room. To be on this cruise, you had to spend at least $20,000 to be on this boat. I saw a family with 3 kids on this boat. I think the youngest one was, she was 15, very smart and intelligent. I think the oldest one was 15, the youngest one was right around 8 or 9. And the fact that an 8 or 9-year-old can say they toured they toured Europe, Italy, all that type of stuff. I said, that's what I want to do. I have the nice cars, I got 2 luxury cars. I have the name brands. Heck, I got the watch. But here's what I quickly realized. That these nice things I don't have, while they're nice to have, and I'm grateful that I do have them, they don't bring lasting satisfaction. And instead, I decided to start focusing on spending my money on things that would truly enrich my life, truly bring peace. This may be bad grammar, but like refreshness, if that makes sense. And it benefit my future family. I stopped throwing my money on material possessions that will lose value over a long period of time. Heck, I was thinking about, not thinking about, I was presented an opportunity to buy the brand new Bentley that was coming out. And I was like, nah, let me go get a rental property. Had an opportunity to buy something else that was real nice. It was real nice that a lot of people have. And I was like, ooh. Nah, let me work on something for the business. Yeah, no. I started investing in traveling, learning new skills, and creating memories with people that I love. I remember for the first time in my family's history, I invited all my first cousins and their families, not my aunts, not my uncles, but my first cousins and their families to come down to my house. And I say, y'all, if you just get here, no matter what, get a hotel room. If you just get here, I'll hire a chef. Everything is good. And I hired the best chef that I could possibly hire for my income bracket. And he cooked for about 100 people. And boy, did we have a great time. And it felt so good to, instead of me buying all this nice stuff, look what I got, look what I got. I was able to tell my large family. I have 17 aunts and uncles, all from the same woman and same man. And out of my 17 aunts and uncles, like 4 of them have 10 to 12 kids themselves. I have a massive family on my dad's side. And it felt so good to drop $5,000, $10,000 on treating my family to luxury. I mean, chef was out there in his apron, walking around the pool, serving them food, serving them desserts, serving them drinks. That brought so much joy to see my family in the pool, playing games, dancing, watching TV. It felt good. And these experiences not only bring joy, but it also shapes who you are, giving me a broader perspective on life. But more importantly, I started thinking, you guys, long term. You see, I asked myself, how can my spending today impact my family's future? That's when I began prioritizing investments that would secure my family's financial future, like real estate, stock market, and other assets that appreciated over time. I also started putting more money into education for myself, right? But no, I'm not going to a college, but I'm getting certificates. I'm growing, I'm evolving. Because the moment this stops, the moment this stops. And for those that listen on podcasts, I was pointing at my head. The moment you start growing your mind, that's the moment your financial potential stops. Not just for you, but also for your future family and your children. Because I know this, and this is the key, and this is why you're watching, that knowledge is one of the most valuable investments you can ever make inside. By shifting my focus to short-term pleasures, to long-term benefits, I was able to build a financial foundation that supported not just my current lifestyle, but the legacy I want to leave behind. I'm curious. What are you learning? How are you growing? How are you evolving? This change will impact you. This change will be a blessing. And these are the five things that if you change and you stop doing these right now, whatever season that you're in life, I promise you it will benefit you. I promise you it will help you become the man and or woman that you want to become. These are 5 things that I stopped doing instantly. And when I stopped doing them, I saw a major change in my life. If you're making over 6 figures, if you are a net worth millionaire, What is one thing you stopped doing that impacted you to make more money? Drop it in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on podcast, hey, come over and just leave me one comment. All right? It's your boy, Anthony ONeal. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next show. Peace out.